It's all about the Health and Healing Hub experience each and every Saturday on your favorite station between the hours of 2 and 4. ContrastRadio.net.
Welcome to the Health and Healing Hub experience. Come inside, shut the door, get yourself a cup of tea, sit down and tune in. How are you, collective? How are you? I'm trusting that you're comfortable now that you've got that cuppa. I can't even remember when I started to like tea, to be fair. And now I'm curious to know what tea you're actually drinking. Ginger, possibly, spearmint, raspberry. Anyway, I am sending greetings of grand rising, good afternoon, good evening. Wonderful as usual to have your company here again. Now, this week you're listening to myself, funmilola, and my co-host, the fantabulous Miss T, who is also the founder of United We Rise UK. Now, also joining us is Sister Karen, who is a change maker and hair nutritionist. Last week I had the most interesting discourse with Miss T when we shared some insights and gems regarding finding your purpose. If you missed that show, it's available on YouTube on the Health and Healing Hub channel. Alright, so for the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to explore the topic of self-love. Alright, so what is it, if and why it might be important, and a few of our experiences of it. Self-love is defined as having a healthy appreciation of oneself, including actions that support mental, physical, and spiritual growth. So it involves having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. There are other points noted, but rather than just reel them off right now, maybe we can start to explore what we as guests and obviously co-hosts understand of it, how we feel about it. Is it even something that's important, or is it just hype?
No, I think it's really basically what we as individuals interpret self-love, and then we can discuss other aspects of it, like you were saying.
But in order to have self-love, you've got to know what love is. Is that not a fact? A lot of people, it's a word that's used, but what does it actually mean to us to love? And then we can think about, well, okay, self-love is another part of it, but love is a word that's so confusing, and it has so many meanings behind people's ideas as to what it is. Maybe that's why sometimes people can't identify with self-love, because they don't know what love is.
Possibly.
But fair enough.
Different way of looking at things.
And I think, sorry, go ahead, Kim.
No, go on, finish off one.
No, and I think, that is the part of the problem. Love is it's used so, willy-nilly. It's flashed about just as a word, rather than having a meaning that's attached to it. So once you can identify what is love to you,
yes,
then you can see whether you're giving yourself what you see love to be.
I think to me, I define love as having something that you respect, something that you value, you have high regard for it. Love is freedom. Love is freedom, because if you love something or someone, you give it freedom, and freedom to express itself, to be what or who it is. So essentially, there are a few aspects that I see as part of love.
I think everyone interprets love in their own way. What you see as love, someone's going to see love as something different, maybe similar but different. I might look at it again as something totally obscure to what you're thinking, and your interpretations, and it goes through your experiences in life as well. For me, I think love, self-love, because that's the topic that we're on. It's more like a deep appreciation, if you want to call it, of, how can I put it? A deep appreciation, acceptance, celebration of your culture, your identity. I think recognizing your own values. Do you understand? Obviously, you hear me already always talking about sticking within your boundaries, that kind of. How much do you value yourself? Because, like we say, we are queens. As far as I'm concerned, we're queens, and we deserve no less than queen treatment. Do you apply that in your everyday life? You know what I mean? Are you practicing what you're preaching? Do you understand where I'm coming from? I think it's more like, recognizing someone's values, their strengths, their traditions, their heritage, their language, reciprocation, not even so much compromise, but like I said, adhering to your own boundaries, and then you're not also conforming to like outside, what do you want to call it? I don't know, peer pressure, pressures, that kind of thing. You're sticking within your expectations for yourself, nobody else's. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And like, is it important? Hell yeah, it's definitely important. It's definitely important. And if you don't practice self-love yourself, how do you expect people to practice that with you?
To me, self-love is the acceptance of who I am, warts and all, and not feeling that I have to change in order to conform or to follow someone else's idea as to what I should be. I'm happy with who I am, and acceptance, weight, looks, hair, whatever. I'm acting me.
Well, again, I'm going to put a question to you, Kay. I mean, I'm going
give me a chance
myself. No. That's what I said. Remember what you're saying, but I'm going to give you a question. Yeah, this is just off the back of what you've just said. Yeah, back in the day, I used to perm my hair, straight hair, because we've got the notion of you need to have to look pretty and all them kind of things. As you've got older, or as I've got older, give me my natural hair. I didn't recognise that at first. So as I've got older, I've unlearned certain behaviours, revamped myself, revamped my mindset, my thinking, and we also talk about cultural differences. How I was brought back home. I say back home. How we was brought up in general. You try and install that in your kids. Then we used to have washout. Washout. So every so often you cleanse the system. You value those traditions, and you pass those traditions on to your loved ones. That is part of self-care. Self-love as well. Do you understand? Accepting your cultural, ancestral traditions, okay, and wanting that to be part of your legacy as well, i.e. that goes through your family as well, because it is part of self-love. If you think ancestral-wise, certain rituals and certain things they used to do, and some people still do, is all a part of loving yourself, loving your family, and passing that legacy down onto your family so that they can in turn show the young ones of how to participate in self-love?
Yeah, I definitely think it's important.
You know?
I think it's important. Since I started my healing journey and I decided I was going to commit to doing the work on myself, then the self-love is, it's huge. It's huge. And it's especially if you know that oh gosh, you guys disappeared for a minute. Hold on. Okay. Especially if you're doing the work. You know. Once we come to this realm, it's almost as if some people are fortunate to get through it, but it's almost as if something now has to come and infect you. And when I say that, I mean your thinking somewhere in your mind is infected with something, and that it may even be your parents, it may be your peers, it might be a teacher, it might be a carer. Now, when I say infected, I mean they've put something in your subconscious which doesn't add value to you. It doesn't, it's not of any positive benefit to you. And now that's in your subconscious, especially during the age of 1 and 7. Who is it? Is it the Aristotle, the philosopher? Yeah. Give me a child until he's 7 and I will show you the man. It's telling you how important it is and how impressed the subconscious can become during that period, and even after.
They soak it up, don't they? They soak up the information, the data that they're being presented with.
Absolutely. And the subconscious mind doesn't delete anything. For every 10 to 12 thoughts that you have or you hold in your conscious mind, there's 10 to 12 million, not 1,000 million thoughts in your subconscious mind. And so the dominant thoughts that you hold in your subconscious mind is what creates your vibration. And so in terms of that subconscious mind now, that subconscious conditioning, because it holds everything, what you can do is rearrange it. You can't delete anything, but you can rearrange it. So
I suppose that's part of the unlearning. Again, like you said, it's not deleting what's gone on out of your memory, but unlearning. Say, for argument's sake, a family of the KKK that's got kids. They're going to install, the kids are maybe not even installed, but they're growing up with the fact that their mum and dad is part of this organisation, part of this, and that's they're surrounded. When they've got to 15, 16, 17, and but hang on a minute, this behaviour isn't right towards certain people. Do you understand where I'm coming from? They are now internally recognising what's been learnt, and they then have to unlearn that behaviour. Do you understand where I'm coming from? That's going from one process to the other. Just the same as somebody in an abusive relationship then.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? As far as they're concerned, this is the norm, because they've grown up in that kind of environment. When they're out of that and they're able to reflect, see that is not how it go. Then they can then work on themselves. Do you know what I mean? Again, part of self-love. To create a better world, a better environment for themselves. So, and I use the example again of straightening the head. Do you know what I'm saying? But why were we doing that? Why were we doing that?
Yeah, exactly. It's a good question. You know what
I'm saying? And I'm part of that because I used to do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I couldn't deny that. I mean, back in the 70s, the black women used to wear wigs, and there were some really beautiful wigs. Some, you know, Diana Ross and the Supreme type wigs, you know, and my mum had a few of those. And then she had another one, but this particular wig, it had brown hair, and it was straight, bone straight, you know. And out of all the wigs, because she had some wigs where it looks natural, it looks like your natural hair. Out of all the wigs, which one did I take? I take the one with the brown ear and straight. That was no longer my mum's wig; it was my own.
Yeah. And you know, so again, it goes back to, for me, again, learning about your roots, learning about your culture, your ancestral, that kind of thing is part of your identity. You know what I mean? It is part of your identity, and we're young. We get older and wiser, or you're supposed to get older and wiser, and you adapt. Your mindset changes. Do you know what I'm saying? But self-love, again, spiritual bliss, spiritual happiness. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? That's what I strive for. That's what I try and surround my whole being with. You know, I try to, stay in tune and as up to date as I possibly can, you know, about ancestral practices, behaviours, do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, you know, a little bit about, you know, you're never too old to learn, put it that way.
So how do you actually show yourself self-love, though?
I think you have
practical ways.
Awakening. You've got to find your awakening, yeah? Because at the moment you're saying we were indoctrinated. You worked in certain environments, you had straight hair because you wanted to look similar to the person that was sitting opposite you. There was an automatic, people thought that's how you used to have to look. Yeah, because you want to fit in. You want to be part.
No, my head was tick. You get me? But everybody's got their own different way of looking at things.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, I think what it really boils down to, in order to know about self-love, you've got to be awoken. You've got to wake up. Get that awakening to say, I need to focus on what I want, rather than what society wants us to do. And then it's about you accepting you with your hair as it is. Everything is accepted. You're not then looking for someone to tell you it's okay to be you. And I think it is a natural time when you go through a certain number of experiences in life, you get to a certain age, as you said, you wake up and you think, actually, no, I like me as I am. I don't need to fit in to anyone else's idea of who I am. As long as I'm happy with me and I'm not hurting anybody purposefully, then hey, fine, I can love me as I am. And it's taken me 64 years to get to that point where I can accept me as I am. Love me, warts and all the things that you don't like, it's down to you to change, but not because of someone else telling you that you have to. You realize for bettering yourself, I now want to change the way I deal with this or do this or the way I dress or whatever, but it's not on someone else's contingency as to what's acceptable. It's down to you now. So you love you for you, regardless of what everyone thinks, because you don't care, because you know you love me. I love myself, so I don't really care what other people think. And it's getting that confidence in knowing yourself that you can actually love you for who you are.
It's feeling comfortable with expressing yourself in a way that aligns with your cultural background. And I won't say the words. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Yeah. What other people think is not your business. Do you understand? Nothing about people pleasing.
Now I don't care what anybody thinks. You know, if you don't like me, then that's your lot. That's how I look at it. But I'm not.
That's what it goes back to, you feeling comfortable
as you've
yourself.
gone on, you get more confidence in yourself, and then as you get older, you kind of get to that point. You think, hang on a minute, I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm okay in their eyes. As long as you can see yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, you're gorgeous, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. So, and then it builds from there, and then you look at different things. You might look at self-care as in keeping yourself healthy, exercising or eating well. So you're caring for yourself, it's just in a different way. You know, you get rid of people in your life that don't fit with you anymore, because they're not sending you the love that you need. So you need to kind of say, well, you know what, I need to back away and focus on me. And I think it's a time for us to focus on ourselves. We've got to love ourselves first before we can love anybody else.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, as I said earlier on, once you adhere to your own boundaries, you know what I mean? Even though you may slip out of your boundaries every now and then, but once you adhere to your own boundaries, and that's you taking care of your well-being, your self-care, could be your finances, your wealth care, you know what I mean, your health care, whatever's going to improve your well-being, improve your mindset. Because remember, as we go through life, our mindset changes because your circumstances change, your position changes. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And you at the time you see things for whatever it is at the time, how you see fit, and you deal with it as you see fit at the time. 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, you might look back and say, boy, I could have dealt with that in a different kind of way, but you wasn't thinking in that kind of way at the time. You had a different mindset at the time, and you dealt with it how you see fit. So what I try to say to people, instead of thinking about it in a negative way, put a positive solution-based scenario to it. You know, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, back. Yeah, you might have, could have done. You don't know how things would have panned out, but you know what? You got through that. You're here now. You know what I mean? Are you comfortable with yourself?
I was wondering.
Good at night. Do you know what I mean? With the decisions that you've made, that kind of thing. Are you happy with yourself? And if you're not, do things that's going to improve that feeling, so that you're not feeling it negatively about a certain issue, a certain concern, a certain person, a certain issue at work. Do something about it. Find out. Do you know what I'm saying? That is all, again, part of self-love.
I was wondering more so about the process, because does it just appear? With me, I heard somebody in particular, and that is what started my journey to awakening. And for me, it was Minister Farrakhan. I never ever in my entire life heard a black man talk like that ever. That for me, because my eyes were completely closed. I don't know if you heard that, Karen, but what I was saying to Miss T was that I was trying to get into more into the process of self-love, because in my understanding, I'm not sure if it's something that just appears. What was the process? Because for me, I was saying to Kim, my eyes were completely shut. If I took you back 30 years, my eyes were totally shut. And it took me to hear Minister Louis Farrakhan. I had never heard a black man talk like that in my entire life. But I could resonate immediately.
What it was saying.
That's when my eyes opened, started to open. And that's when I said, because my boy is half mixed, you know, he's mixed race. I had to take him now. I said, if this is the world that we're living in, you're not going to get your culture, you're going to get half your culture, so I'm going to have to put you in their school. I put him straight in their school, private school he went to, so he could get all that knowledge. So he's been brought up in nation, you see, just to try and save him, because we're out here in this ocean. I don't know what you would call an ocean that you could drown in. See?
No, I hear you. I was gonna just as an example. This is when my kids was young, and it just so happens to pay for a nursery and a private school. It was a couple of pounds cheaper, so I sent them to private school. Yeah, and this was when they were, I'm talking like 1, 2, going up to 3. Remember before they went out at school, and then afterwards anyway, cut long story short, when they did go into proper school, they could add up. And it weren't just because I sent them to school. At home, I'd have on the television, on the phone, so that, we're spelling. When they're in the car, you're looking at the roads, spell blah, blah, blah. And you have it as a game. We played Ludo and dominoes, and that gets them to add up and all them kind of things. They make them use their mind, all those kind of things, yeah. And I can remember the teacher saying to me, they don't think they're going to do so well right now because they weren't in the school from the start. I had come here, reel off the 10 times table, 12 times table. This is them at 3, 4 years old. And you're going to tell me that they can't excel at school. You know what I'm saying? And that was because of how I was brought up. I was born here, but my mum brought me up like I was in a yard, put it that way. Do you understand where I'm coming from? They grow what they know. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Yeah, so if you want them to be in tune with their traditions and the ancestries and all them kind of stuff there, the herbal methods and all that kind of stuff, the same thing that you were encouraged to take on, you have to install in them as well. And then they can make up their own mind as they get older. Yes. They're going to go through life experiences that's going to twist and turn them, and it's for them to uptake, become woke, as we have done as we've got older, put it that way, because we can turn around and say to them, we've been there, and we can give them our opinion on our lived experience and how things panned out for you making this decision as opposed to that decision, for them to have it in their head to make the right choice, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, self-love, feeling happy and contented with yourself and what you're giving out and what you're receiving.
Because also I'd say when I was younger, I between the age of 2 and 5, I was brought up by white people. And that's because in the 70s a lot of African parents just came over here. And because they wanted to give their family a better life, so a lot of the time they were working 2, 3 jobs, studying. And so you go and live with these white people. Mum and dad don't collect you in the evening, just stay there basically. So if you've got films, you have school, you have magazines, you have comics, you have dollies, you have all these things that don't look like you. That's all in your subconscious now. So that is that's really something that's
quite deep for you to, because your childhood affects you in your adult years. And I can remember a turning point for me at school, and I think we've discussed it before, many shows ago. There was postcards, and they had these 2 postcards up at the school. Now bear in mind, I'm 7, 8 years old. One of the postcards was of a little baby black boy, I think it was. It was 18 months old. I think it was 18 months old. Human zoo. It was, and it had on there, these were postcards, you know, in my school.
The school, you know.
And then the other one was a postcard of, it's someone, they're well-known postcards, by the way, yeah. It's somebody looking out through a telescope. When you look through the telescope, it's got the slaves sitting down, no, not sitting down, kneeling down, arm behind their back. But when you look at the end of the telescope, you're supposed to be looking at Jamaica. And at the end of the telescope, you can see people on the beach, they're having laughing, joking. And it was the lie that we're telling to people in England, slaves, including their own people, you know, that we're savages and blah, 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 blah. When in fact, when they went over to our island, we're happy-go-lucky, always doing food and laughy, jokey. Do you know what I mean? And I'm 7, 8 years old at school, and that made me want to, know more about Black history.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But where could you get the information from at that time?
No, that was down to my mum. This is what I'm saying. I had to.
That's why.
This was on the wall.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
And at that time, at that time, again, in this same conversation, we were supposed to, you know, your teachers, you know, you got to write an essay, you'd put your hand up, and then you're supposed to reel off different icons. They reeled off, Florence Nightingale. I said I wanted to write about Mary Seacole because she's similar to Florence Nightingale. I got dashed out of my class for being disruptive.
Wow.
Yeah, so my mum used to, she's a bit brutal, but it beats it into us. You understand where I'm coming from? Your roots and all that kind of stuff. So I could match certain people with your so-called person not of colours, icons, with somebody that is similar. You know what? They do something similar to what that's who I'm going to be writing about, just to key off the people then. I got in trouble for it.
Wow.
This day and age, you wouldn't get in trouble for it because, you know, you're not supposed to discriminate and all that kind of stuff. But back then, and this is where I go back to, I think as much as you're taught it, it's installed in you from birth, from however you're grown up. You do get to a certain point as an individual where you're either a follower or a leader. You know what I'm saying? You're either going to take on what people are telling you, and that research, you just, you know, that's gospel and take it as that. Or you're going to be, I call us the rebels then, you know, the ones that are going to go against the grain. I don't think it goes like that. This is why it don't go like that. Look at how, those kind of things. So I think as we get older, as we have done, we've looked into, you know what, I'm not actually comfortable with how I am as a person. Let me look and see how I can change that, improve that, and feel comfortable with and happy with myself, regardless of how other people are looking at you, whether it be from your own culture or other cultures. You know what I'm saying? And that, again, for me, is part of self-love. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Don't know how anyone else feels of that. Because embracing your heritage, your roots, your culture, your traditions as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember the brother? Was it Brother and Nancy programs that used to actually come on the TV? Do you remember that? Yeah. Why don't they put that on there now? Because those were proper folk, you know, tales that had a meaning to it. Okay. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And kids, they're like sponges, like you said, from 0 to 7. They can take in all that you're giving them and know even more than what you think they know at 1 to 7.
So true.
It's just it's embracing who you are, your culture, your food, your everything, traditions, as Kim said, and then getting to a point in life where you stop and you think you're not happy. There's something missing. And then you've got to start looking at you. It's a real self-dive. You've got to dive into yourself. You know, they say shadow work. You've got to do a bit of shadow work. You've got to face those things that you've been avoiding all your life in order to accept it. And that's what I mean about accepting who you are. Warts and all, problems as well. But you've dealt with it where it no longer affects you in a negative way. It strengthens you. It empowers you. Because now you've moved on from there, taking on board all those like your experience with the cards and everything at the school, that didn't stop you from wanting to know who you were. You weren't going to say, well, that's what the white man says, so we've got to stick with it. You actually wanted to know for yourself, so you delved into that. And as you get older, you then be able to sort of look on not just that, I'm not saying it's on a superficial level, but you look deeper into what it is that makes you you. And you say, yeah, this is who I am. Love me or leave me. Yeah. So my self-love is accepting who I am, warts and all, and yet being able to say there's still things I want to change. I still need to tweak bits and pieces, not for anybody else, but for myself. And it, you know, always coming back to whatever has influenced you to get to that point, it has to be because you want it for yourself, not because someone wants you to do that. And then you accept who you are.
How did you get to that stage where you're always like that?
No, of course not. I've always liked me, but now I love me because I know my worth. Yeah. And I wasn't waiting for someone to tell me my worth. I know it now. But we live in a world, you know, we get caught up in relationships where, you know, you're trying to satisfy your partner and you forget who you are. You get lost. And when you get to that point where you can sort of say, actually, I'm good as I am. Yeah. I don't need anybody to tell me, you know, to justify my existence through their level of expectation. You have the expectation of yourself, and sometimes you can aim high and you push yourself, but then in the end you realize your capabilities. So that's another form of loving yourself, because now you can see, actually, I'm good at this. I don't need anyone to tell me or justify my existence and say you're good, because you know you're good, because you know yourself. And it's that point of getting to know yourself. That's a lifetime project, because we change creates growth. And with each change, you have to adapt to the change. So it's a constant, you know, loving yourself is a constant. And you just hope that by the end of your life, you love yourself completely.
Oh my God. I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't actually imagine being in the same lifetime and not having come to love yourself. I mean, it can happen. I understand it can happen, but if I'm truly telling the truth, I can look back and I can see I have come miles. There's still so far and so many things I want in this life, but I want to be where I can look back and I don't feel disappointed in myself. I want to continue to be 100% in love with me. You know how oftentimes I'd say that we fall in love with someone so quickly, so easily. You want to give them everything. You want to give them the world. I want to do that for myself.
So thank you.
That's how I want to be about me. Crazy in love with me.
Yeah. And
one step at a time, you got to, you know, like, because I can. Is it that L'Oreal advert? Yeah, because we deserve it, because I can. You're going to ask yourself, yes, you deserve it. Deserve it. You deserve to grow on that journey. You deserve it.
Lola, you said about, you know, where self-love, there's a lot of people that don't love themselves. Yeah. Because they're reliant on someone to justify. It's not a common thing for people to love themselves. Those of us that are aware that we need to love ourselves and we are doing it, we're kind of rare, which is unfortunate, because we're being indoctrinated to such an extent that they can't, you know, they're still being held. You know, kind of unique. And I know people may listen to the show and think, oh, but we are, because we realise that we have to love ourselves. But a lot of people don't realise they want someone to love them in order for them to feel that they actually exist. It's a rarity. You know, we are people because we realise that's where it all starts. That's where happiness
Oh my
begins.
gosh.
So people pleasing.
Yeah, do you know what I'm thinking?
Don't work.
I don't do that no more.
Don't
But
work.
it's taken a long time for me to get to this point. But I'm glad I've got here, so I'm embracing it.
Yes.
But it's a constant. It is an everyday movement. Because if we think that we've got to this point where we don't need to bother anymore, then we slip back. You're going to get things thrown at you that are going to give you that little
Yes.
And you have to be aware, you know what?
Yes.
It's just an obstacle that I'm going to climb over. This word, I still love me.
And the thing is, what I'm mindful of is I wouldn't want to be in a specific relationship right now, because I know I need to focus on me.
Myself,
because I've seen.
Have we all just come out of relationships or something? Because it sounds like.
No, I wouldn't say so. I've purposely given myself time to do this. I have to do it because the relationships that I've been in, I can see the patterns. I've been doing work on myself. Why am I going to go into? If I go into, it's got to be all or nothing. And so I just need to be in a particular space before I do that. I need to concentrate on myself.
On your being.
Just round about now. When that person appears, with all of us, we're going to know, you know.
You're going to know it.
We will know. We will know. And I know that I will know. So I not rush in, just take my time. And even, you know, one time I asked myself, if I didn't have sex again for the rest of my life, would I be okay? And then you know what? I said to myself, you know what? I actually would be.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's about loving you. Have a love affair with yourself.
I got hands and I got good imagination. Yeah, I said it.
You know, and I've got loads of batteries too. So I'm all right. No, but you know what?
But I guess I really meant in terms of maybe a partner. And I had to say to myself, well, actually I would. I mean, if I look back, I've had a beautiful life. And so many beautiful experiences. And like I think you said, Karen, life changes all the time.
All the time.
And so, around about now, I just feel that I have to focus. I could jump into something if I want, but I don't see the point right now. I could jump into something, but why? No.
When the time is right, it will happen.
And I'm getting to know myself, the new me, that woke, as they say, woke person, someone who's come out of that sleep and is now realizing, actually, let's get to know what I can really do, man. Because if you've achieved all that you've done with obstacles, what are you going to achieve without the obstacles? It's amazing. It's greatness ahead of you. But you just have to love you, love me, no matter what. And that's what I'm working on. And I'm enjoying the process of falling in love with myself. It's great.
Yes.
Because you know what? I'm worthy of proper love, not superficial, not just this flimsy little just to get me into bed and then all of a sudden it's all over. Proper, sustainable love that is worthy of me.
That's right. Because at the end of the day, that's your energy. You're putting all your energy. I would never mix up. Let me tell you something, right? I would never mix up with my energy with anybody. It's got to be the right and the real deal. You know what energy is? Energy is precious, man. Yeah. Precious. No, you don't know. You don't just mix. No, you don't mix up your energies with anything.
Just so.
And you know, there's a lot of vampires out there. You know that.
Don't do that.
There's a lot of crosses out there.
Energy vampires, man. They're there just to suck the living juice out of you.
Yeah.
And then walk on.
Yeah.
Leave the husk behind.
Mm-hmm.
And some people just got wicked intentions, seriously, and that's male and female across the board.
I always say,
people
Kim,
in
now,
that place.
hurt people hurt people.
That's one of my sayings.
Yes.
Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And we don't know who's hurt until they start hurting you.
Yeah.
And if you're not aware and you think it's just his way of expressing love and don't take it on board, he don't mean nothing by it. We need to be real with ourselves. And that's where the understanding who you are and valuing yourself, love yourself.
Yes.
Waiting on some sort of person to come in and say, yeah, you're valuable now, so that's fine. No, you've got to find it for yourself. Otherwise you'll never realize that you're all you need to be as you are.
And the thing is, I'm not saying, because another person might think, boy, you're just saying that, yeah, you're happy on your own and blah blah blah. It's not. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like to be in a relationship with somebody. Absolutely, why not? Hello, it's got to be on the same page.
But you want to do that for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Not for the wrong reasons. Some people are in a relationship because they don't want to be alone. You can be in a relationship and be alone.
Yes.
If you're not getting there. You know what? We are queens and we deserve queen treatment. And no less than. You know what I'm saying? And that comes from family, friend or foe. You're socialising, whatever. How you carry yourself. You know what I'm saying?
But I can honestly
when
say
you
that
allow people to do certain things, and we allow it or enabling it. Why? Because your self-worth is not balanced, man.
You've got low self-esteem.
Sometimes it takes a while for you to get there. For whatever reason, whatever life lived experiences, something detrimental may happen for that penny to drop. For you to say, you know what? I either need to change my ways. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Or something needs to change because my purpose is different now and I want a different outcome.
But going to what you're saying, we need to remember, we can't change people. The only thing we can change.
No, this is talking about yourself, not other people.
Yeah.
You cannot force no one to think, do, say, or act as you want them to. They're not you. You know what I'm saying? That person, like I said, if they want a different outcome, it's for them to realise or get to that stage. Say, you know what? I've done it this way time and time and time again. I've got to try. You know, when you see somebody's fine church now, or somebody's, someone's been shot in the family, or, it's something that's changed and they're saying, you know what, enough is enough. It could be the man's cheating on you, the woman's been cheating on you. And you're so wrapped up in whatever it is that you're doing, you're not seeing it. The universe has a way of opening your eyes, whether you like it or not. And you're going to say, you know what? It's time to love me now. Do you know what I'm saying? It's time to love me. I was loving me, but maybe I wasn't loving me in the right way. But let's face it, we've all made mistakes. We've all done stuff or whatever, whether we want to keep it closeted or not. But you know what? Things have happened for you to find your purpose, find your way. Do you know what I'm saying? And take care of you. Because you know what? If that person hasn't got it in them to, I call it spiritually, put out for you, then you deserve better.
What? Spiritually put out
for you. Stuff that you would do for somebody without them even asking you to do. You see that person, whether it be in pain, in need, whatever, and you're doing whatever because it is part of you. Like just how you are, just how your makeup is. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to channel that energy on yourself. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And for me personally, surround yourself with people, like-minded people as well, because they can help to lift you up. They can help to inspire you. They can help to empower you. You know what I mean? Because some people, unfortunately, are negative.
Vampires.
Do you know what I'm
Energy
saying?
vampires.
Whatever conversation you're having, whatever you're somehow, it starts off up here, and sometimes it starts to spiral down because they're in that space. Like I said, that's one of my sayings: hurt people, and it's very true because it's just in their makeup. They haven't got to that stage yet. You know what? It's okay, but I'm on my journey. Using your journey, and I'm not crossing lanes because I've been there before. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It's not that you're never going to help that person, you're never going to talk to them or whatever, but you have to know that for your own self-respect, your own self-esteem, you need to take care of you. It's not being selfish, it's you being selfless, and that will ooze into the other person because when they're ready. You know, when you jump on a train and jump on, they may jump on the train way down the line, change mindset. They're not that person before. Remember they say lepers can't change their spot. If you really want to change yourself, you can redefine yourself. But you've got to want to do it. No one can do it for you.
You're not the same person you were when you were 25.
Exactly. Choices that you made,
it's a natural process.
10, 20 years down the line, it's not the same process. You're going to think to yourself, or sometimes you say to your boy, if I didn't know that back then, I would have done it, dealt with it a different kind of way. Yes, you may have got a different result, but you know what? Don't think about that because I say to people, that wouldn't yam out your head. That wouldn't yam out your head. Think positive about it.
Yam out your head.
Whatever you've experienced,
you know what I'm saying?
It's made you the person you are now.
Exactly.
So it's a matter of just knowing that you're not the same person. We've all made mistakes. If you continue to make the mistakes, it becomes a habit and no longer a mistake. But you have to accept that the things that you went through was a learning process for you to get to this point in your life. So you could have, if you changed something along the way, you may not be the person you are now. Chances are you wouldn't be because you would have gone on a different path. So accepting yourself, even though you may say, oh man, if I hadn't done, you know what, it's done. What did I learn from that? Instead of having a go at yourself and beating yourself up, what did I learn from it that's made me a better person that I am now? And that's how you've got to look at it. You've got to turn negativity into positivity because we're always going to encounter it. And what's the point of beating yourself up? It is what it is, you know. But if you continue, then you're a fool because you know it's not good for you, but you're still going. But the acknowledging that actually, no, I've got to stop this.
Yes.
And find a way to turn it into something positive. It's put me on the path I am supposed to be on now.
Yes.
So it's all, Kim's given me a lot. We give each other a lot of support, and Kim has guided me through a very difficult part of my life recently, and I've got to say thank you, sis, because it put me in the right frame of mind to know you're doing the right thing because it's for you.
I love you, sis, and that is what we are here for. We're here to lift each other's stands up, not pull it down.
That's right.
Exactly.
We all go through life experiences. Your experience may be different to Sister Kate, to my experiences, but you know, but the feeling is real. Do you understand where I'm coming from? The trauma is real.
Yes.
We're people of colour, right? So what you've got to understand is we're people of colour. We've got racism, we've got institutional racism, we've got generational racism to contend with, as well as your own shit that you're going through. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Whether it be, you know, family, what do you call it? Family feuds, you know what I mean? Sibling rivalry, you're picking them in and out of prison. You've got a child that has got mental health issues. You've got your own mental health issues. We've got how many other things to contend with as well.
Absolutely.
Do you understand where I'm coming from? And like we've all been talking about already, as we get older, we deal with that certain part of traumatic incidents or traumatic occurrences or as we see fit at the time. If you are not seeking help, if you are not getting help throughout that journey, what happens then? What happens then?
Well, I think if you need it and you don't get the help, then that could cause some kind of crisis. It's going to cause issues. But if you don't need the help, then I don't think that's a bad thing.
I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. And if anybody listening to the show wants any help with any traumatic incidences, any mentoring, coaching, counselling, you can always contact United We Rise UK at gmail.com, and I'll be happy to signpost you and spread awareness to some of the Black-led organisations that are available and willing to help. But yeah, going back to what we were saying, we have a lot to contend with as it is, as well as, if you want to call it, trying to fix ourselves.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any particular questions any of you have for anyone in particular, I should say.
Just keep loving ourselves, ladies, because we're worth it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All of us need to look in the mirror every morning when I look in the mirror and I say, you know what, you are amazing, woman. You're going to have the most fantastic day today. You're going to win the lottery. That hasn't quite happened yet, but I'm working on it.
You're saying whatever it is, you're putting it out there, because words are power. Words are things. Words become things. I'm telling you, what we think that words create. Use it positively or negatively. It's entirely up to you. But words actually do create. And we can see the connection between creation in the Bible and the Word, because the Word was with God and the Word was made flesh. We can see the connection. So it's very, very powerful. And that's why we pray over our food, obviously, and we can speak into our water. And then you put that into your body. Your body is 75% water. Water has memory. Yeah, so absolutely love that. What a great session. Once again, thank you so much, Sister Casey and the fantabulous Miss T. Fantastic. If you need a counsellor, contact info@unitedwerise@gmail.com. That is info@unitedwerisuk@gmail.com. Now, to the listeners, just another reminder, the information heard here is not intended to serve as medical advice and should not be used for the diagnosis or treatment of a health problem or disease. As I always say, investigate, do your own research when it comes to your health issues. So we're approaching the top of the hour now, when we're going to go into the advert break, and in the second half of the show we invite you to experience some of our mix and blend music selections. Give thanks.
It's all about the Health and Healing Hub experience, each and every Saturday on your favorite station between the hours of 2 and 4, contrastradio.net.